I'm George Ducharme, and currently I'm an adjunct faculty and volunteer director of the Institute on Disability and Community Inclusion. Formerly I was full-time faculty from 1991 to 1997 as the coordinator of the Disability Specialist Program.
So your first year here was 91?
Yes.
How did you hear about the position at the college?
Well, I had been on the advisory committee of the program that Ken Steer was running, and I think at the time it was called the Mental Retardation Aid Program. Initially, the program was started to train people to work as aides at Mansfield Training School. And then he changed the title, I don't know exactly when, to Mental Retardation Assistant or Worker, to take into consideration positions that would be in group homes and community-based environments as well. When Ken left, I left the advisory committee, and his successor was here for a few years, and then I had heard that the position was becoming available again, and at that time, in 1990. And so because of previous contacts, I was told of the opening, and should I be interested, and that's when I applied.
Do you remember the interview process when the search committee called you in to talk with you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dr. Day was co-chair, at least, and Joan Paterna, I think, was the co-coordinator. My concern was that although I had tremendous connections and contacts and experience in the field of disability because of previous positions I had held, the last being the superintendent of the region that included Manchester and Willimantic and most of the 15 towns. I had no formal teaching experience. I had developed and conducted many seminars throughout the state, and in a teaching environment, but not a formal teaching experience. So I really was concerned about that. So I was deeply aware of that particular lack. So I put myself into 150% gear for the teaching experience, and then I guess the connections I had and the contacts I could make for the college, plus the teaching experience, told them that was enough to hire me. So I was honored to be hired in January of 1991.
Had you taught at a community college before MCC?
No. This was my very first experience. I had taught at St. Joe's College on a couple of adjunct courses. That's where I got my master's degree in special ed at St. Joe's, but not at a community college, although I had spoken in classes for Ken Steer and for others, but not a full experience.
Did you find the students different than those you were accustomed to at St. Joe's?
Well, yeah, that I was accustomed to at St. Joe's, yeah, but the seminars that I had been teaching throughout my career included a huge diversity of people, diversity of ages, and diversity of degrees of knowledge, and so I was very comfortable, and also because I was very comfortable dealing with a variety of people in the disability world. The variety and the ability to sort of interact with the different personalities within a class was stimulating, not challenging at all.
If you look back at the last 20 or 21 years, are there any people, whether they were colleagues or students, who really stand out?
Yeah. I'm particularly moved by the number of students that I had the honor of teaching who were full-time parents, of course, usually single parents, part-time or full-time employed, and taking classes here at Manchester Community College. The journals, I ask everybody in my classes to keep journals and to indicate to me their impressions and feelings about certain things. And the depth of understanding and wisdom in people who are maybe struggling academically, but are 20 years or 30 years into life and want so much now to study. So that the thing that impressed me the most was that people that were here, particularly people with that definition, really, really applied themselves and wanted to succeed, and did. So, and there are individuals there, but there were so many that I over the 20 years, and continued into this past semester. This was a wonderful semester in that regard. There's the colleagues. The event that most impressed me about being here at Manchester Community College, and I've said to everybody that I've had the opportunity to share this with, that this environment and this group of people have been the finest work experience that I have ever had, and there's no other reason to say it except it's true. And it was brought home by an event, and shortly after I was here, in 1991, there was an effort to merge the community college system with the state college system, which has just been accomplished, I guess, not in a merger form. But and there was such a push to be sure of the integrity of the community college by everybody involved. And there was such a push to be sure that people who were employed here, even the last one in, which I was, would stay on faculty. That the division that I was a part of, the social studies, social sciences division, and at that time John Crowley was the division director. And I remember him standing up, and a number of the people standing up and saying, look, we're willing to sacrifice part of our salary in order that we don't lose any faculty member. And I can't tell you how welcoming that was, because I knew I was the first one out. if this was, that's just the way it would be. It was no animosity or anything. It's just the way it was. And from there, everything just sort of built. That was not a single entity. That really did speak to what this place was and who the faculty were here that I interacted with, at least. And then the students just came right into that picture.
What were some of the changes that you saw take place at the college during since 1991?
In the disability arena, first of all, when I came, the disability specialist program, as it was renamed, was in danger of being lost here. For a variety of reasons. And I was asked to try to revive it. Thankfully, we were able to do that. So the Disability Specialist Program, in terms of what it was like in 1991 to what it is like now under the leadership of Dr. Eileen Fury, has increased in its numbers generically, but it's also increased in its direction. The assistive technology is a very big part now of technology that helps people to speak when they don't have verbal language, and to do a whole host of things with all the assistive technology possible. The other thing that's very big now is a program in speech and language pathology assistant, which has expanded the number of excellent students here tremendously. So the idea from starting with a very distinct program for aides that worked at an institution, which is what Ken Steer created, much needed, to developing now to a program that is very broad in its in its ability to assist students to understand disability is a huge and very much in need in our current society. The other thing that was very, very visible from my perspective, in 1992 we established or presented to the President the notion of an Institute on Disability and Community Inclusion. And he accepted that, and it was formed in 92. And we focused on seminars, bringing people into the college. We focused on a variety of elements to sort of broaden the college's experience, understanding, and people within the disability field to come to this college and possibly understand that there may be places to matriculate and get some courses. And we were quite successful in those. One of our colleagues, a woman named Beverly Jackson, who uses a scooter and is a person with cerebral palsy, really was very, very instrumental in her own approach to all the offices here as she planned our seminars and got things developed. She felt a very real welcome. And welcome in the sense of knowing what to do, or as she asked them to sort of accommodate things a little bit more for people in chairs, that they went ahead and did that. So the accessibility of this place to accommodate the law of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which became effective in 1991, was made law in 1990. Beverly and some of us in the Institute were able to interact with the administration, Dr. Dowby at the time, and folks who were planning buildings. And we got to the point where they asked us to review plans, which was unheard of in our field. And so that particular element of improvement was very big. The buildings and the way to get in and out of buildings and everything in classrooms was very big. But the most important thing was the attitudinal set here at the college, starting with the administration and into the offices that Bev Jackson saw, and all of the students that we see now. I mean, we just see people here ordinarily that with disabilities that we would never have seen in 1990. So it's a very big change from the point of view of welcome to people with disabilities. Those are obvious. The people with hidden disabilities, people with learning disabilities and mental illness, etc., I have come to know through my classes and through just being here. There is also a welcome here that is significant. To have a three-person staff headed up by Joe Navarre and then, Gail and Joan, just in the arena of making people with disabilities welcome and to assist professors in adjusting things to welcome a person with disability, major and the best, I think, in Connecticut.
Are there any other accomplishments that you can think back to and would like to highlight?
Well, the thing that I like to highlight is the fact that the college itself was, again, welcoming, and we put together some pretty large conferences back in the early to mid 90s here, 400, 500 people coming from throughout the state primarily, and then throughout New England. And the program center, the old program center, was able to accommodate the large crowds and was very versatile in the sense that you could rearrange. I think we could do the same thing in the gymnasium now, perhaps, and such. But it was quite an interesting piece to have people from all over New England and people from within the state come to this campus at special times, and so that was that was a very big thing. We do smaller seminars now, but we do 2 or 3 things throughout the year that bring people to the campus. One of the things that's been very interesting is for us in the Institute, and we team up with a nonprofit that we also are part of called Comunitas. And right now, just the last 3 years, we've been involved in the community gardens out off Lot C here. And the reason we are is that one of our friends that we've just come to know over the last 3 to 5 years is a past president of the Garden Club of Manchester, who uses a scooter now and thought her gardening days were over. But now you will notice that the garden people, all the people associated with the sustainability committee and such welcomed the idea that Comunitas and the Institute would take some garden plots and build some pretty large raised beds for use by people in wheelchairs. That has become a symbol of the community garden in many ways. So it's that type of interaction and welcome to whatever projects we happen to see happening here. That's been quite I think the historical perspective of welcome to courses for people with disabilities here at the campus is tremendous. The thing that is, I still think that Manchester Community College is the only college that offers an associate's degree and a certificate in disability specialist work.
Those are basically the questions that I had prepared. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or discuss?
Well, I'd like one other thing, if I could. In my particular story, I came to understand that I had some Native background. And again, the welcome of the community college to creating new courses that had to do with Native American studies. So over the past 6 to 8 years now, we've had courses here in history of Native American peoples, arts, music, and song and dance in Native culture, an anthropology course, and a sort of a political science course. We've been able to run 2 of them, and that's been pretty good because these are electives. It's not associated with any particular project, but the ability to add to the knowledge of the students here, that of the Native person, in a real sense, not in the mythical or the fictional or the stereotypical sense, has been quite an honor for me personally, and I'm hoping that this continues. In the U.S., there's nothing but growth happening in the area of Native American studies, and so I'm hoping that does continue. That's it.
I think that was good.